Hello students, today we are going to study a very interesting poem, Elegy written in a country churchyard, composed by Thomas Gray. It is one of the greatest poems ever written in the history of English literature. Here is the image of Thomas Gray. He was born on 26 December 1716. He passed away on 30th July 1771. He was a classical scholar, poet, letter writer, and professor at Pembroke College, Cambridge. This poem was written in 1950. Gray was a transitional poet. When I say that Gray was a transitional poet, it means the poetry written by him includes the quality of the classical poetry and the romantic poetry. Romantic poetry, there are certain qualities, there are certain characteristics of that poetry, that the description of nature and the personal element, autobiographic element in the romantic poetry. And Gray's poetry has the qualities of both the ages of the classical age and the romantic age. That is why he is called as a neoclassical poet. This poem was written in the memory of his friend Thomas Gray, who passed away on 1742. This poem is of universal nature. It is just like a mirror. It reflects the human nature and see in what manner Gray had described about the nature of the people and about the fate of the poor people. Once Gray commented, where ignorance is bliss, it is folly to be wise. He wants to say, where ignorance is considered as blessing, he advised that one should not be wise there. It would be foolish to show our wisdom. He wants to say indirectly that we show our wisdom where are the intelligent people, where the intelligence is counted. Next, he pointed out that poetry is the thoughts that breathe and words that burn. As Wordsworth defined poetry, that poetry, the expression of powerful feelings recollected in tranquility. In the same manner here, Gray defines poetry, that poetry is the thoughts that breathe, means poetry is full of certain ideas, emotions, and feelings. And words that burn, when we express the ideas and feelings and emotions, the words do not matter. And this poem is an elegy. When I say that it is an elegy, elegy is written as a tribute to the something loved and lost. In the modern time, the modern usage, it is the theme that matters, not the meter. In the earlier time, there was a particular meter in which elegy was being written. The subject matter does not matter. But in the modern time, it is the theme that matters, it is the subject matter that matters. There are famous elegies written in the history of English literature, that is Tennyson's Break, Break, Break poem, Milton's Lycidas, Matthew Arnold's Tiresias. And we can say that it is a type of pastoral elegy. In the modern time, the loss of human values is also narrated, is also described. In this poem, we have an epitaph. Now, question arises, what is an epitaph? A short text honoring the deceased person. It may be written in prose or verse. William Shakespeare himself wrote his epitaph prior to his death. Now, here is a scene of the country churchyard. It is silent. Nobody is there. And the poet happens to go there once. It was the time of evening. There was complete silence. And the poet was standing alone, and see in what manner the poem begins. The curfew tolls the knell of parting day. The loving herd winds slowly over the lea. The ploughman homeward plods his weary way and leaves the world to darkness and to me. In what manner the poet describes the coming of the evening. In the European countries, when the day was about to go, when the day was about to part and the evening is about to come, there was a warning bell, there was a curfew bell. It indicates that the evening is about to come. The second point of the evening is that the lowing herd winds slowly over the lemons meadow pasture. The lowing herd is coming back from the meadows and they are making sound. The calves are making sound, making lowing sound for their mothers, and they are returning from the jungle. At the same time, the poet described the evening activities. The plowman homeward plots his weary way. Actually, weary way. The way is not tired. The person who is walking on the road, he is tired. The plowman, after working throughout the daytime, he is coming back to the home and he is walking in a tired manner. That's why the poet describes and says, the plowman homeward plots his weary way and leaves the world to darkness and to me. And the poet says that he was all alone in the country churchyard and the darkness was about to come, and the poet create the atmosphere of evening, the serious atmosphere of the evening. In the second stanza, the poet describes the another activity of the evening time, in what manner the evening comes. Now fade the glimmering landscape on the sight, and all that air is Solomon, stillness holds, save where the beetle wheels his droning flight and drowsy tinkling lulls the distant folds. Beautiful description of the evening. What happens when the evening is about to come? The light of the sun becomes dim. The glimmering landscape, the shining landscape means the light on the landscape, the light on the earth becomes dim and fades. It is going to end because the evening is about to come, and all that air Solomon stillness hold. The air is silent. There is no activities of the air. The air is not blowing and there is complete silence. And the poet says stillness holds. The whole atmosphere is controlled by this silence. We can say there is a perfect silence. There is a complete silence. Save money, except EXCEPT. Save where the beetle wheels his droning flight. That silence of the evening is disturbed by two things. First, the droning sound of the beetle. What happens at the time of the evening in the countryside? The beetles makes droning flight. They go here and there, and that silence is disturbed by the droning sound of the beetle. And second, the silence of the evening disturbed by the tinkling bells of the animals. What happens in the countryside, in the villages? The animals are kept in the enclosures, and when the night is about to come, when the day is about to end, the animals are drowsy and a bell is tied to their neck. When they are about to sleep, what happens? They are about to sleep, the bell strikes. It makes tinkling sound, and that's why it is lulling sound. It is inviting sound. That is why the poet says there is complete silence because it is the time of the evening, and that silence is disturbed by only two things. First, the droning flight of the beetle, and second, by the drowsy tinkling bells of the animals. Next, again the poet describes the activities of the evening and says, save that from yonder ewy mental tower, the moping owl does to the moon complain of such a wandering near his secret bower, molest her ancient solitary chime. So in what manner the poet describes the situation of the owl who is sitting alone there. That silence of the churchyard, the silence of the evening, is also disturbed by the owl. Owl complains. What is the complaint of the owl? That he is seated in a tower, and that tower is covered by the ivy creepers. The owl is there. Owl complains to the moon, and the owl complains to the moon. What is the complaint of the moon? That's as a wandering near his secret bower. Bower means residence. The poet was there. The poet was standing there. That's why he says that this person is disturbing his solitary regime, solitary rule, that the presence of the poet is to disturb his silence. In that manner, the owl complains to the moon about the presence of the poet in the country churchyard. See in what manner the poet creates the beautiful atmosphere of the evening, and what manner the evening comes. Now see, it is scene of the evening time. There is the, the light of the sun is becoming fade. We can hear the sound of the beetle, and so many things are there, activities of the evening time. Now, by chance, the poet's eyes happens to see the graves. Graves, in what manner the poet describe the graves of the poor people. Beneath those rushed elms that your tree sate, where heaves the turf in many a mouldering heap, each is narrow cell forever laid, the rude forefathers of the hamlet sleep. Hamlet, a small village. By chance, the poet's eyes happen to see the graves of the poor people under the year trees shade, under the shadow of those year tree, and the earth is loose. There are heaves of the earth, and they are loose heave because they are recently dug up, and each in his narrow cell forever laid. That in the graves of these poor people, these are the graves of the poor people, and here the forefathers of the villagers are buried there. The poet describes the graves and says the earth is loosely heaped up because it is recently dug up, and that time the poet describes the grave of the poor people. Next, the poet says about the nature of death. When a person dies away, no one can give him back to life. No one can bring him back to life. He dies forever. And death is immortal. Death is immortal. In what the poet describes the nature of death. A breezy call of incense breathing morn, the swallow twittering from the straw-built shed, the cock's shrill coloring or the echoing horn, no more shall rouse them from their lowly bed. Lowly bed means grave. Bed, grave that is dug up to the low level. The fresh air of the morning time is considered good, is considered life-giving. But here the poet wants to say the fresh air of the morning is not able to bring back to life these dead persons. Next, the swallow twittering from the straw-built shed, even the sweet song of the swallow cannot give life to the dead person. The cock's shrill clarion, the loud voice of the cock, or the loud voice of the horn is not able to give back life to these persons because they are buried there. Now, again, I want to say that neither the fresh air of the morning, nor the twittering of the swallow, nor the loud voice of the cock, or the echoing sound of the horn is able to give life to the dead person who is buried in these graves. The poet wants to say a person dies, he cannot be brought back to life. Next stanza. For them is dead persons, for them no more the blazing hearth shall burn, or busy housewives ply her evening care. No children are up to lift their sire's return, or clive his knees the envied kiss to share. See what happens at the time of the evening. And the person is alive. When he comes back from the somewhere, the wives are busy for their welcome. When a person dies away, the earth means the fireplace is not burnt for their sake. Even housewives are not making hurry for the welfare of that the husband. Means when the person is alive, the fireplace is burned. Housewives are busy for their care, and when the person is alive, children run to share the love of the papa. Share means father, for papa return. They also climb at the knees of the person to share the kiss of papa, to share the kiss of father. And with kiss in the means there are two or three children. They try to show that he's going to take the first love of his father. Now I repeat the sentence. For them no more the blazing hearth shall burn when a person dies away. The fireplaces are not burnt for them, or busy housewife fly her evening care. When person is no more, the housewives do not try to do something early, or even after the death of a person, children do not run to share the love of papa. They think that the person dies away. Here, Gray wants to say that death is immortal. When a person dies away, nobody recalls him, nobody remembers him, he dies forever. Now, the poet praises these poor people. In what manner the poet praises? That oft did the harvest to their sickle yield, their furrows of the stubborn globe has broke. How jocund did they strive their team of field, how bowed the woods beneath their steady stroke. In what manner Grieg praises these poor people? That these poor people were the people of hard work. By their sickle, they used to cut the harvest with hard labor. Their furrows often the stubborn globe has broken by their powerful stroke. They might have broken the earth into pieces. How jocund did they drive their team afield? These poor villagers were jocund, means were happy to graze their animals in the field. They were not bothered about the vices of the life. They were people of hard work and honesty. How both the woods beneath their sturdy stalk, by their powerful stalk, they might have brought down the woods by trees by their labor. In that manner, the poet praises the poor people. They were the poor people. These poor people were the people of hard work and labor. Now the poet advises. In what manner the poet advises? The beautiful lines, immortal lines. Let not ambition mock their useful toil, their homely joys and destiny obscure, nor grandeur here with a disdainful smile the short and simple annals of the poor. It is the advice of the poet to those persons who are ambitious. And the poet says that these people, the ambitious people, should not mock, should not laugh at their useful toil as their hard work. Their homely joy means their simple joy and destiny obscure. Fate was against them. The ambitious people should not laugh at their destiny, at their simple joys and their useful toil, at their hard labor. Give further advices, nor grandeur here with a disdainful smile. The people of power and money, grandeur, people of power and money should not laugh at at these poor people with hateful smile. They should not hate them. The short and simple annals of the poor, the short and simple history of the poor people's life. It is the advice, serious advice of the poet to the person, to the ambitious people and to the people of power and money. In next stanza, that is also important. The boast of heraldry, the pomp of power, all that beauty, all that wealth ever gave, awaits like the inevitable hour. The paths of glory lead but to the grave. There are so many people who talk about their family name, heraldry, family name, generations, that they belong to this family or that family. They talk about their family names and fame. There are so many persons who talk about their power, that they have this power, they have political power, they have money power, they have other power. The boast of heraldry, the pomp of power, all that beauty, then all that ever have given. Even the beautiful persons, they talk about that they have beauty, this type or that type. There are other persons who talk about their wealth, about their money. Grace says either they are the people of power or money, either they are the people of high family, Either they are the people of beauty, either they are the people of the wealth, awaits like the and if to all this person wait for that compulsory hour, the hour of death. Every person is destined to death. Death comes to the palace of the king and the hut of the poor. Death spares none. Death is immortal. That is why Gray advises that either they are the people of power and money, or the great society, or the beauty or wealth, all the person go to the grave. That paths of glory lead but to the grave, he declares that those persons who talk about glory, all are destined to the grave. Death is common. Death comes to all. Grave is a place where you have to go all. In next instance, the poet also describes that nor you ye proud, he addresses to the proudy people. There are certain proud person, and they say, impute to thee the fault if memory over their terms not trophies raise, where through the long drawn isles and freighted world the pealing anthems swell the knot of the praise. Generally, the graves of the rich people are decorated with trophies, ornaments are written. Here, Gray says that these are not the fault of the poor people. One should not say that these are the fault of the poor people, that tombs are not erected, trophies are not erected in their memory. Where through the long drawn isle and freighted wall, the pealing anthem, the rising song, swell the knot of the praise. If in their praise the song is not written, is not sung, it is not their fault. If monuments are not written, if tombs are not written, if trophies are not written, if these songs are not sung in their praise, Gray says it is not their fault. That is why Gray advises the proudy people that we should not blame the poor people, that such and such works are not done for their memory. The poet advised very beautiful saying and says, can a storied urn or animated bust back to its mansion call the fleeting breath? Question mark. Can honor's voice probe the silent dust or flattery soothe the dully cold ear of death? Generally, we see that over the graves of the rich people, what happens? The number of urns are made in their memory. Storied urns are there. And lifelike statues are made for their memory. It is tried that the statues should become just like lifelike. Urns are erected one after another. There is a question of the poet whether these works of the architecture can give life to the dead person, can bring back breath to the dead person. Definitely, the storied urn or the animated bust are not able to give life to the dead person, to the fleeting breath. Breath is fleeting, breath is not permanent. Next, can honor's voice prove the silent dust dead body? The words of honor cannot prove the dead person, cannot make the dead person alive. The words of honor cannot give life to the dead person. The dead person is dead forever. The words of honor are not able to give breath to the dead person. Or flattery soothe the dull, cold ear of death. See here, the poet personifies that the ear of the death is cold and dull. It does not hear. The death does not hear the words of flattery. The poet wants to say whether we can stop death by the words of flattery. No, definitely death will come. We cannot stop the death by the words of flattery. Death is permanent. Next, the poet describes the poor villagers and says, perhaps in these neglected sport is laid some heart once more pregnant with glacial fire, with divine fire. Hands that road of empire might have swayed or wait to Casey, the living liar. The poet guesses and says, perhaps in this neglected spot is laid those persons who are buried here in these graves, and these graves are neglected. And the poet said, perhaps in this grave there may be some person, some heart who was pregnant, means who was full of divine power. Celestial fire means divine power, who was creative with divine power. Some person might have been buried here. And that road of empire might have swayed. It may be possible that there might be some person who might have become the great ruler, great emperor, king, and might have swayed the country, he might have ruled the country. Or wake to east catch means supreme pleasure, the living liar. The poet says that perhaps that there might be some person who is buried here, might become a great musician, and he might have given a great pleasure by playing on the lyre. The poet praises the poor people, the poor villagers, and says that these graves are neglected, they are not taken care, they are not cared by the people. And the poet says perhaps in these graves there might be a great saint, might be a great sage who might have been burning with a divine fire. There might be great persons who might become the great ruler, he might have governed the country, he might have ruled the country. Or there might be a great musician who might have created this supreme pleasure by that music. In that manner, the poet praises the poor villagers, and he says these poor villagers are neglected. Next, the poet says about their life, about the lives of the poor people. But knowledge to their eyes, her ample pages, rich with the spoils of time, did never unroll. Chill penury repressed their novel rays and froze the genial current of the soul. What happens? Poverty is a sin. Poverty is a great curse, because in the life of poverty, people fail to get knowledge. People fail to express their feelings. And that's why the grace says that in the graves of the poor people, they were poor people, but knowledge to their eyes are ample pages. The pages of history, the pages of the knowledge were never opened before them. Never unrolled means never opened before them, because they failed to get chance. They failed to get knowledge due to poverty. Chill, penury, poverty. Poverty is penury, poverty. Poverty is always chill. Repressed means deserted, repressed, suppressed. The noble means the noble current, and froze the genial current, the real current, the creative current of the soul of the poor people. The soul of the poor people was frozen. The current of creativity was frozen forever. Poverty was a great curse to them. They could not turn the pages of knowledge. They could not turn the pages of history that is full of knowledge. In that manner, the poet regrets that these poor people were rejected, were dejected. They were not given chance. Next, Grace says, full many a gem of purest race in the dark unfathomed caves of ocean bear, full many a flowers born to blush unseen, and waste its sweetness on the desert air. It is said, a gem of the purest quality is found in the dark caves of the ocean. Full many a gem of purest is seen, the gem of purest quality, fine quality, is found in the dark caves of the ocean. These poor villagers are just like the gems of the fine quality. They were living a life of darkness. They were living a life of poverty. Full many a flower is born to blush unseen, waste its sweetness on the desert air. Sometimes a flower blossoms the desert. That flower is deserted by the hot air. People fail to realize the sweetness of that flower. Here Grace says that these poor people are just like the gems of the purest quality. They were hidden in the darkness of poverty. In the same manner, these poor villagers, just like the flowers who blushed but their sweetness, their qualities were deserted by the opposite circumstances, by the current of poverty. In that manner, the poet described the life of the poor people. In the next lecture, we will come to the other part of the poem. It is the half poem, and the next poem we will go in the next lecture. Thank you.